I care about people, maybe to a fault at times. I care about the future of humanity for some reason. I care about the future of people I've never even met yet. and I care about strangers that I've never met that do exist today. And it's one of those strange paradox of giving a damn, therefore having to not give a damn. In the sense that there's so much going on in the world, trying to even grasp 7.5 billion people. It's just such an unfathomable number. When you look at that amount of people put into, you know, anything else, whether it be a billion grains of sand or, you know, a billion inches, it's just an outrageous amount of people that live on this planet. Each person with their own feelings, their own emotions, their own idea of what real is. And trying to navigate this world, you have to have empathy for people. You have to give a damn about people's plight. At least I believe you do. I mean, you don't have to, and I know a lot of people don't. There are many sociopaths out there who can't or won't, and psychopaths who are completely unaware of what it even means to care about other people. And I have empathy for those people as well, because life is damn hard. But it's even harder when we don't have a grasp on connections with other people, when we can't build good relationships. It's very difficult to have relationships with people, whether it be, you know, a spouse or a parent or a kid or a stranger that you meet that you want to make friends with, or somebody you grew up with that you are friends with. And coworkers, you name it. I mean, we're going to encounter a lot of people in our lives that we have to be able to harmonize with. And all through history, humans have thrived on cooperation. You know, it's kind of a conundrum in a way. It's almost the human nature is to get yours, right? I mean, but also part of human nature is to help others. There's this interesting paradox that you run into where competition is good. Competition helps us to survive. It helps us to move into the future with a species that can cope with the problems that may be thrown at it. This can take us back to some very scary dark times. Even just that's why I kind of hesitate here, because I don't really want to talk about purity or you know, good people, because there are some really bad bloodlines with many diseases, right? And in the past, Darwin's law said survival of the fittest was the way of the land. If you couldn't survive, then you were left behind. It happens in the animal kingdom too. But at the same time, there are many, many, many studies or many different observations, rather, done in nature where animals help each other during their times of need, when they're suffering, when they're dying. Animals are willing to be altruistic, which is sacrificing your own, risking your own health and well being for the sake of some others. And you see it in humans every time there's a major disaster, people risking their life. Now, some people may say, well, people only do that because they feel good inside, because they're helping others. But the question is still there, why do they feel good inside? Because it's human nature. Now, some may say, well, people help others, and they use what you would call the look at me, I'm donating type, you know, like these billionaires that start these, you know, funds to help other people in these, quote, charities, which are really just a way for them to hide their money. But the bigger problem here is that it's a way to look good, because look at me, look what I'm doing. But there are many, just as many, if not more, anonymous donors of millions of dollars to various buildings, statues. People really do care. And they don't always do it for the recognition. We do it because we want to do the right thing, and we feel the right thing in our hearts, and we know what's right and what's wrong. Even if it's very subjective, even if nihilism tells us that nothing really matters, that doesn't matter. Because if nothing really matters, nothing matters. Uh, we it doesn't matter because a majority of people in society expect a certain type of behavior from each other. So even if you can point to some natural law or say, look at people, they're ignorant, they believe this and they're wrong, it really doesn't matter. If most people believe something in your community or your tribe, if you can't beat them, join them sometimes. And in this case, you're not losing anything by joining people in caring about others. You see what I mean? And that brings me to, I guess, the most crucial component of this. If you can care about others, in order to care about others, you have to care about yourself. And there are a lot of people out there who don't care about themselves, who look down on themselves. And often this is because they look up to others and have this illusion that other people know what's better, or they know what's best, or that look at how well this person's doing and how successful they are, and I'm not in that league. There's no way I could ever attain that. But you really could. That, when people say you could do anything you want, we know that you really can't. But on the other hand, you could too. It just depends on how much work you're willing to put in. Some of the most unlikely candidates have achieved their dreams far beyond what anybody could have imagined, only because they were pushed and people doubted them. So if people doubt you, prove them wrong. Get out there and do something awesome. I love it when people tell me, oh, you can't do this, because it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it sure is satisfying because it pushes me to want to even do it more. Kind of like when I first started building guitars, and somebody said, oh, you can't just build a guitar, it'll take you years to get one that you can play. It's like, no, I'm going to do this, and of course it's going to take me a few to get one that's really high quality, but still, hey, I made it and it played, and I feel satisfied because of that. It's an achievement, an accomplishment, and as humans we want to have achievements and accomplishments. Sometimes those things that we accomplish can help us out psychologically more than you could ever get from any type of drug or metaverse or distraction that modern society puts out. So that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to just kind of ramble off the top of my head. Maybe I wanted to wet my whistle and get my words flowing, because I'm getting ready to start a podcast right now, and this one's going to be about everything. Everything from my point here is I want to conduct myself positively in life, but I'm faced with negative bullcrap. And so therefore there's a lot of things I need to talk about. I really need to unload. And on the podcast, since I pay for my own platform to host it, I can say whatever the fuck I want, and even talk about a pandemic or talk about Kratom if I wanted to. And that's what I'm probably going to do. But if you haven't checked out the podcast, it's called 15-Minute Free Thinking. It's on all the platforms. And give it a shot, see what you think. Other than that, I'd like to see people have a little more faith in themselves. And I think having empathy for others helps us do that. It helps us to live our lives better and be happier. You think about those times in your life when you've been doing really well, when everything just seems to be going so well for you. What was it that made everything going so well? Maybe it was just that you went to a concert for a couple days or a festival, and you came back and you felt good for a few weeks afterwards because maybe you took some psychedelics, or maybe you met a new person and you're in love. Maybe you made a new friend and you've been out hiking and doing things you don't usually do. Maybe you changed a habit or a behavior that you've been meaning to change. All these things can make us happy. We have to give ourselves credit where credit is due, because damn it, it's really easy to slip into oblivion in this world and just kind of do what you will, hide in your corner, drink yourself to death. It's just not the way to live. It'll never bring us any happiness. And sometimes people say, well, that's fine. I'm already miserable. I might as well be more miserable. And I would say that's not the right way to look at it, because misery loves company, and I don't want to be around miserable people. I do my best to help people who are sad or upset, but I don't have the time to spend my whole life wallowing in misery with other people's bullshit. There's an illusion out there that some people have that are sad or upset, that others are just happy. They see this Facebook illusion or people's plastic smiles, and they think, look, everybody else is happy and I'm not. And I just want to say, they aren't. They're doing their best. And I'm not saying that in a way of dismissing people's happiness. I'm saying that in a way to bring other people up to realize that they're happier than they might realize. It's kind of like the question of depression. How do you know if you're depressed? How do you know what it feels like to really be depressed? I mean, obviously, if you have a heavy, a very intense depression and you sleep for, 15 hours a day and you're sad and you're crying all the time, that's a completely different thing than just kind of feeling down for a while. Maybe this is why you know, antidepressants, they always say it takes a month to start working because they know that it's going to take a month and you'll be out of it on your own naturally. We're always pulling through the bullshit we face. It's amazing what humans can endure. And I think we owe it to ourselves to do our best because of that. And who knows what might come after this or nothing at all. But in the meantime, we got to cope with the world around us. So do the best you can. Talk to you next time. Be well.